Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to RLT, Real Life Trading's beginner day trading room. My name is Tony Pollock. I'm super pumped to be with you all today. Every day, man. Having the time of our lives out here is so much fun. Waiting for people to jump into the rooms, and then we'll get into it. We'll dive on in. Albert, good morning, my friend. What is going on? Good morning to everyone out there in YouTube. Welcome. Be with us for the first 30 minutes of the day here as we do our little pre-market analysis. If you guys got some tickers that you would like me to throw some sense at, again, just I'll give you a little thoughts of how I would trade it. Throw them at me. Let me know if there's anything that's interesting to you that you think would actually be able to pay out. That, hey, I'm all down. That's why group trading is great, right? We can put our heads together, put our eyes in multiple different places and be able to help each other out. So that is the plan. This room, we specialize a lot in education. That's really our whole purpose of what we're trying to do. Helping you learn how to trade the markets, giving you the correct expectations and the tools that you need to be successful in the markets, right? So, good morning, Lucian. Cam, what's going on? What's going on? All right, I think we've given people enough time. They're still coming in, but let's get started. As always, we start with the markets. Just a quick little rundown of where we're at and what's going on. So, a massive down day yesterday. We did end up retesting some EMAs and then just got crushed. We closed below the 50 EMA on a daily, getting smashed. And now we're gapping all the way back up. All right. So this could be a few scenarios. Remember, we say we give ourselves some scenarios and see which one plays out. So we always have a plan. We don't have to try to predict and be right. You just give yourself a few options, right? It's either going to do this or this. And if it does option A, then I have a plan for it. If it does option B, I have a plan for it. That's the best way to trade, in my opinion, instead of trying to be like, you know what, it's going to do this. Because, hey, I'm sure most people thought we'd be gapping down today instead of gapping right back up. So this is a gap and go. There are some bears trapped. And scenario number one, I don't know how likely this is, but 455 is a bouncing area. That's a really, man, my horizontal line today is off, man. There we go. We're getting better at it. 455 is where we did get to yesterday. And people are definitely piling in. And they started piling in as soon as the markets closed yesterday. I mean, as soon as they closed, we had a massive push in the post market, and we've been continuing that move ever since. We do have a neckline here that we probably retest most likely at some point. So I want to keep an eye on this little spot right there. What do we do at 459? If we're strong, we'll bounce off of that. If we're weak, we will fail to bounce that, right? So again, just kind of giving ourselves some scenarios. So scenario number one is this bounce is legit, and we're probably going to crank out of these resistances and make it to all-time highs. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, but we did pull back to a strong weekly support. Now, this used to be a resistance. Now it's a support. That's how the market works. Definitely could be playing out that way. Did we get all the way to the penny to it? No, but we don't have to. The markets very rarely will get straight back to where, they touch the perfect support. It's either going to go too low or it's going to bounce before it ever gets there. So that's scenario number one is, hey, bulls are taking over in this area and it's time to go full bore again. All right. We'll see what happens. Option number two is we're just simply retesting again. We're going to chop in here and probably keep rolling lower. I think that's more likely the case of what's going to happen. We are an inside candle on the markets today. So we are inside the open and close, I guess I should say open and close of the candle yesterday. So no real new information out there technically, right? When it comes to just looking at the chart. Now we have news, we have other things we can use, but I'm looking at just a technical analysis right now. The Bulls couldn't get it above that. They still can't. The Bears couldn't get it below that. They still can't. We're waiting to see who wins, right? And so I expect a lot of chop. I expect a lot of traps today. Be very careful on these inside candles on the markets. We're waiting to see what happens, right? If we break out above this bear candle at 463, 464 area, it's going to be very strong and could give some validity to the fact that the Bulls took over in this spot because it's a support. We will find out. Just Pal Talks again at 10. Fantastic. Might be sitting on my hands a little bit today. We'll see if there's anything out there we can get in pretty quick and get out, take our money and sit back and see what happens. But interesting gaps. The markets are all over the place. Again, makes it really fun for day trades, makes it really tough to try to do some long-term stuff. So that's that on the SPYs. Qs is the same exact thing, right? Pull it back to a support and we're still an inside candle. Okay. IWM is the one thing that is a gap and go outside the range of the previous day. That is something I am keeping a very close eye on. All right, there's the markets. Let's dive into some tickers. I'm going to start here on our YouTube list from requests. We've got Apple. Man, I tried to trade Apple like 5 times yesterday. And it just kept missing my entry by little tiny bits and rampaging without me. So that was kind of my day yesterday on Apple. It was a great time. It was just the funnest time I've ever had. I tell you what, nothing greater than being missed in 5 cents repeatedly and it just cranking. We are up 1.5% into all-time highs after a massive move yesterday. Could it continue? Yes. Are there going to be people that will take profits today? Yes. Every single person that's ever bought Apple in the history of Apple all have something in common today. What do you guys think that is? Every person that's ever owned Apple, it doesn't matter if you bought it yesterday or if you bought it a year ago. Lucian says they're profitable. Exactly. They're all profitable. Do you think there will be someone that will be taking profits today? Someone out there in the world. Yeah. And so I think that up here is not the buying zone. This is I guess I shouldn't make a circle. Up here is not the buying zone. This is profit taking zone. This is not the time to start buying Apple. This is the time to take profits on the stuff from people that have already been buying Apple from forever and ever and ever ago. So with that being said, I expect a pullback. This is a retest gap. I'm only going to trade Apple if we do get a pullback somewhere around the high of the day. Maybe even a little bit lower would not be shocking, right? Is there a chance we get like a baby little pullback and then it just rampages? Yes. And if that's the case, it's going to leave without me. I'm not going to be trading this thing because it's very extended and all-time highs tend to be tough. Again, especially starting out. This is the beginner's room. Don't feel like you have to take every trade or jump on a trade that looks good. There's a lot of factors in here that might make this tough, right? The fact that you're going against a lot of people taking profits, which could cause a nice move up and then a big crash down. And then we start to go higher and then a big crash down. And then that right here this is really tough to trade. And that's most likely what's going to happen. Doesn't have to. We could just scream to the moon or we could fall straight down, but most likely we're going to get some chop because of people taking profits. They don't like the market conditions. We're into all-time highs, and that's when people get out, all-time highs. So for me on Apple, I'm not as interested in this as I was yesterday. Yesterday, we were down by some EMAs, showing a lot of strength. It's fantastic. This gap is great, but it's extended, and we're into all-time highs now. So that kind of changes the door just a little bit. Let's see. RBLX is another one on the list. This is an inside candle. Really crappy candle yesterday, honestly, in my opinion. Broke out, hit some resistance, and died. So the bulls did not show up at all. We are gapping up. This might just be a sentiment play off the markets, but I think this is just going to get a lot of chop. There's easier trades out there to take that give you a more clear direction and understanding of where we're at. Okay. So that would be my thoughts on this, is try to find something that's outside the range of the previous day when it comes to trading, day trading. Makes it so much more easier because at least you have an edge in that sense, right? The bulls are doing something they could not do yesterday. So it gives you some direction on an edge. All right, let's keep it rolling. I got to go faster. Open door. Same thing. I think a bounce is coming. It's very extended to the downside. We're into support. A bounce should be coming. And what I'm doing here is I try to just tell you what's in my brain. So I'm not going to tell you what to trade, how to trade it. What I am going to do is I'm going to think out loud. So whenever I look at this chart, this is exactly what I'm thinking. It's extended. It's down to a support. We're an inside candle. So I don't have any new information. The bulls are not showing me anything that they couldn't do yesterday. If we were gapping up here, 1657, now the bulls are doing something that they didn't do yesterday. It shows some strength. Let's see what happens, right? But at the moment, no real information. So my brain says next. Let's try to find something in a day trade that's giving me an edge. But I do expect this to have some sort of bounce, probably up to like 19 or so, and then probably another rollback down. It doesn't look super great. Yeah, me just thinking out loud. We've got Upwork. That is what I am looking at. It needs to open up above the high, though. This is a great one. Same analysis, right? Big move lower into some support, high wave candle. It needs to gap outside the range. Bulls have to wake up. They have to show me something, or else I'm not that interested in it. But probably trade this. You know, if I was going to do something with this, my targets would be up into this resistance. $40-ish or so is where I'd need to set my profit targets if I was to take trades on this, where I want to be out at, best case scenario. So that's my thoughts on Upwork. I do like it. It is on my list. I put it on there today already. I think we're into a strong support after a billion bear days in a row. It should bounce at some point, but it's got to open up above the high of yesterday for me to be serious about it. Okay. XPEV, big day yesterday, retest gap. So let's let it retest. And then best case scenario is probably 59.89-ish back up into this next resistance is where I think we could get to. It's not too big of a gap, but we did have a massive day yesterday. So probably a retest, and honestly pull back to around like $54-ish is not going to be out of the question at all. In fact, that's probably where I'd be looking for some sort of reversal signal. That's where I'd be at on that guy. Let's throw this one onto the list and keep an eye on it throughout this morning and see if we get that type of setup. Other than that, if it doesn't pull back some, I'm probably not going to be chasing up there. Wait for the retest on retest gaps. Means green candle gapping up. That is a retest gap. It's most likely going to retest this gap. Okay. Twitter sentiment on this really sucks for the bulls. I mean, massive gap up, failed miserably, closed below the green candle, and then gapped down again and went lower. Now we're just an inside candle on this. It's way too oversold for me to want to go short on it. And to go long, there's too much resistance in front of it with an inside candle. I think this is just going to chop around. It's going to be tough to make money on this, in my opinion. Just me looking at it, my thoughts, my brain of how I would trade this. Whenever it looks bullish, think about going bearish. Whenever it looks bearish, think about going bullish is how I'd probably play this today, honestly. Being quick, not waiting for confirmation, going that route. Let's see. Fastly, I haven't looked at Fastly in a hot minute. Same story, inside candle. So I've already said it a million times. I won't repeat it and bore you guys to death, but I think my first thoughts, inside candle, there is no new strength showing. Yes, we're gapping up, but the bulls couldn't get above 42.13 and they still can't right now. So Find something that's easier to trade than these inside candles. Jerremy always says that most of his losing day trades happen on inside candles. They're just tough. So you want to find something that's gapping outside. You're a day trader, so use those gaps, use the fear of people in those trades and the emotions of those people in those trades to give you an edge. That's the greatest thing about day trading. You can get such a good edge without having to have risk in the market overnight. It's awesome. This doesn't really give me a massive edge, but I am leaning a little bit more bullish short term on this because I feel like we need to start retesting some of these EMAs on a weekly, especially. We're pretty far from the weekly EMAs, so it makes sense that it would bounce. PYPL, it's a good gap. So here's something that we're extended down. I imagine we're into a support. We are. Bulls are finally starting to show me something. Not only are we gapping up above the high of yesterday, we're actually gapping up above this little channel. You see how we've had a couple wicks right here? I should make this bigger because I know it doesn't end up being, my screen's massive. It looks huge, but on everyone else's screen on the broadcast, it's tiny. So I need to zoom in a little bit more. This is a great gap. We do have an EMA and a resistance sitting right there. This is going to have to be a target of mine. And I don't know how much meat is on the bone on that, right? If we look at a 5-minute chart, yeah, we're pretty much already there pre-market. So that might cause me to sit back on this one and be a little hesitant. My gap and goes, I need them to have a lot of room to work. And this one, there isn't. It's a great gap. And it is one I'm going to keep a close eye on today for sure. Finally, some bulls showing me something, right? That's what I want to see. Who's strong? Are we gapping up out of the range or down out of the range? I need new information. Put as much in your favor as you can get as a day trader. That's why we day trade. Great gap. Love it. Let's see. CFG. Not quite outside that range. And even if it was, resistance is about 48.68. So that's where I would need to be at. And I don't know how much there is on that guy. Very much a chop, and the volume on this might be a little bit soft. So stocks that gap nearly every day, the gaps don't carry as much weight. People are used to the gaps in that stock. So they're like, But a stock that hardly ever gaps and then puts in a pretty decent gap freaks people out. Emotions are high, and that's what we can take advantage of because the market's not predictable, but people are predictable, and people are in the markets. So you can use people's emotions to get an idea of what might happen. When people are scared and thinking they're going to lose all their money, right? If you were up $100,000 yesterday and a big gap down, and now you're only up $60,000 or $70,000, what are you most likely going to do? Oh, just get out. Just get out. This is scary. I'm not going to lose any more money, right? You can use people's emotions to tell you what direction the market's probably going to go for that specific stock. People are very predictable. Just put yourself in their shoes, put them behind the candles and figure out how they're feeling. You now can have an edge in the markets. Let's see what else we've got. MNST, inside candle, down to a support. It should be kind of like a bullish bounce, but again, no real new information for day trading. So I would pass on this and go find something easier to trade. PLTR, same story. It is building pressure. We'll see if it'll bounce or not, or just go lower. But an inside candle inside the range of yesterday, no real new information for day trades. I like to find something that I can get an edge on. So CRM looks like a bull fade. Let's check it out. Yeah, so this is a retest gap. So a bear candle gapping down. So anyone that got in short yesterday is profitable. So what are they probably going to do? They're going to take some profits off. This is an earnings gap. Earnings, I guess, were decent. We gap down most likely on Outlook, and we're gapping down into a support. So a big candle gap, right? We're down 5%, almost 4.5%. a nice big move lower in a bullish trending stock, right? This is in a bull trend, higher lows, higher highs. Bull trending stock that's gapping down into a support. If we jump out to a weekly chart, fantastic. We have not made a higher low here that we're breaking. The higher low is down here at around 267, 65. So we're still in a bull trend. And I imagine bulls were waiting for a pullback on this to go bullish. So I like the fade a lot. Let's put that on the list. Great find on CRM. We're going to wait for what I want to see is some kind of trap. We may have already gotten that pre-market though. So on my fades, I love to see a bear move down whenever I'm fading. Fading means we gap down. We're looking to go bullish back up. That's a fade. So I want to see some bears get in immediately and then take out those bears on a fade. That's my favorite kind of setup. I'm already looking bullish. I have a sentiment going bullish and a reason why I'm looking bullish because of the gap, because of the sentiment. I'm leaning bullish, and now I'm waiting for bears to be trapped. Look for who's trapped, and you'll catch big moves. The Tony Nugget of the day. John says, let's get it. Let's do it, man. Great find, John. Let's go. CRM is top tier on my list here. I like it a lot. Okay. NVIDIA is putting in a nice gap. My homie Chris on YouTube. What's going on, man? Thanks for being here. NVIDIA is just stupid strong. It is stupid extended. So just know, I mean, we're way up here. Great company, good gap. I would really like this gap. It's not at all-time highs, but I would really like it more on my gap and goes if it was above this. So when I say gap and goes, you hear me say that all the time. A gap and go is whenever we have a bear candle. It's supposed to be a bear candle that's gapping up. So immediately, right, the bears are wrong. The bears were in full control. And then the very next day, we're gapping up above that. That's a gap and go. I tend to play those quicker in the mornings, and they tend to move pretty well. A retest gap is whenever we have a bull candle gapping up. Bulls were in control yesterday. They are continuing to be in control. And so we're going to wait for a retest, a few bulls to take their profits, and then go higher. Right. So those are the two type of gaps that we play. Bull retest gaps and gap and goes. And that can be bullish or bearish, right? So a bull candle gapping down is a gap and go. A bearish gap and go. You can find all this information on YouTube with Real Life Trading. We teach you about all the gaps for free. It's all there. Dive into it. Thousands of hours of education for free. So eat it up. Everything you need to know to be profitable is on our YouTube channel for free. So don't pass that up. All right. Let's keep diving in. Let's keep looking at some more tickers here before the market's open. We got a few more minutes and let's go get it. Roku. Common theme, right? Inside candle. It makes sense because the markets are inside. So these are just following the markets. That's why I like stocks that are gapping outside the range even more, because that's showing me something different than just what the markets are doing. So this is just, I mean, the break of this support is death. Roku does not look good, but it needs to retest. It's too extended to the downside. So I expect a bounce on a lot of things to start coming in. A bounce probably to 250 to 270. Somewhere in that range makes a whole lot of sense before we roll lower, but we most likely roll lower. Roku is it's riding the struggle bus big time. It's going to be a while, if ever, before it gets back up above 400. I don't know if ever. That's a pretty bad break. We will see. All right. Inside candle gap, nothing too special on that one. If we do start getting above these bear candles at 236, then that would be very strong to the bull side. For a swing trade, short term, and a day trade. Okay. Let's see here. So yeah, Austin, again, For sure. I see what you're saying. Bouncing off of support. Totally. Bulls trying to go in. Totally. But if we were gapping up above this bear candle, that would tell me the bulls are in full control short term, right? That would tell me that this support is holding and this is time for the bounce. We might stay inside today and just chop around, because that's what I think the markets are going to do. Today is not the greatest of days, in my opinion, to day trade a ton, because yesterday was a really great day. So normally the day after a really good trading day tends to kind of suck. So don't fall into the trap where you have to trade every day. You're asking to lose money. You're screaming to be a non-profitable trader. Sit back and pounce when the opportunities are there. If they're not, wait for the opportunity to come to you, right? We've got LI on here. That's a good gap. That's a good gap. It is up 4%, so it's not a small gap. How much more is this really going to go? What we could do is look at the average true range. So let me pull this up real quick and check out the average true range in this guy. Figure out where we're at. So the normal average true range is about $3.44. With this gap, we're already at $3.86. So this is already bigger than the average move of the day, which tells me that it's probably not going to go much higher. It could. There's never an absolute in the market. Like, it's never going to do this. No, it's more like percentages. And I'd give this a 60% chance that it's done. More than half that it's not going to go much higher than this. Probably up to like 38. And then it's probably going to chop around and pull back. The gap just is too big for this stock. Doesn't mean that it can't go to the moon from here, but I would say this move is most likely all happening in the gap. You've had 3 bull days in a row. It's probably pulling back. If you wanted my 2 cents on that, that's what my brain and my eyes are telling me. If I'm thinking out loud, that's what I'm thinking. OSTK, I haven't looked at this one. I looked at Overstock in a hot minute. That is a good gap. Yo, bam, dad. Good find, bro. Heck yeah. So we have a hammer off of support. Look at this EMA that we've bounced off of multiple times. We've bounced off of this EMA tons of times. Hit that yesterday. Bulls took full control, and the bulls are now outside the range of yesterday. That's what I'm talking about. Marking out a little bit of resistance here. We do have some right in front of our face. That is something I need to pay attention to and look at. But the gap sentiment is strong enough. I honestly believe that we're going to work our way. 93.66 is very doable. I'm just literally marking out wicks. That's all I'm doing. Wick there, and I have wicks here, and I have a wick there. On a daily chart, the daily chart's going to tell you what to look at, what to expect. We're already gapping up above this resistance. I'm telling you, the bulls look very strong on this. This is one I'll probably be looking to take out the gate if I can get my setup. If you want to learn our setups, learn how we trade, watch us trade in real life, come join us, reallifetrading.com. Trade like this every single day. Have tons of fun. My friends on YouTube, thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed the pre-market analysis. Go have some fun, control your emotions, follow your plan, and go make some money, change your life. We're always here to help. Please reach out. Feel free to email me anytime, Tony@reallifetrading.com, TONY@reallifetrading.com. I'm happy to help out on questions that you have. And yeah, come join us. It's going to be tons of fun. Thank you, YouTube, for hanging out. We will be back.